Hey everyone, welcome to today's Explainer, brought to you by Deutsch Lingo, your absolute go-to spot for German online lessons. Today we're going to visually demystify 4 incredibly tricky German positioning verbs that, let's be honest, trip up pretty much every A2 learner out there. If you've ever stared at a sentence totally paralyzed, wondering if you should use Stellen, Legen, Stehen, or Liegen, well, you are in exactly the right place. We're going to figure this all out together.
Okay, so here's our roadmap for today. We'll look at those 4 tricky verbs, break down the difference between action and state, untangle the accusative and dative cases, and then finish up by practicing together so it really sticks. Let's jump in.
Section 1. 4 tricky German verbs. Precision is key. You know, in English we just throw around the word put or he's located and call it a day, right? But in German, specificity is absolutely everything. The language demands to know exactly how an object is positioned in physical space.
Now, to get this, the absolute crucial point is understanding this concept first, Wechsel prepositions. These are our two-way prepositions. We're talking about words like auf, in, unter, or for. These little words are literally the secret keys that determine how these positioning verbs operate. And why? Because they actually change their grammatical case based on what's going on in the scene. You gotta ask yourself, is there action and movement toward a destination, or is something just peacefully resting there in a static state? Keep that massive distinction in your head as we move forward. Moving to Section 2. Action, Stellen, and Legen. Active movement verbs. These are our active movers, the verbs we use when someone or something is actively placing an object somewhere. There's a start, a movement, and an end destination.
And the difference between these two? It's all about the shape of the movement. On the left, we've got Stellen. You use this when you are moving and placing something in an upright or vertical position. Just imagine taking a vase or a bottle and firmly placing it upright on a table. Boom, that's Stellen. On the right side, though, we have Legen. This is for moving and placing something in a flat, horizontal position. Think of laying down a book or a piece of paper. So Stellen is for vertical action, while Legen is for horizontal action.
Section 3. State. Stehen and Liegen. Resting without motion. So, naturally, what happens when that movement stops? We enter a state of rest.
What's really fascinating here is how things shift when the movement completely stops. Our verbs actually change entirely. On the left, instead of active placement, we now have stehen. This describes a vertical resting state. That bottle, it's not being placed anymore, it is simply standing there, upright. And on the right, we've got Liegen, which describes a flat, horizontal resting state. The book isn't being laid down, it's already lying there. Simple as that. All right, Section 4, the grammar. Accusative versus dative. The grammatical glue. We've got our verbs sorted by action and resting state and by vertical and horizontal positions, but now we need the grammar that ties this whole shebang together into a proper sentence. This is exactly where those two-way prepositions we talked about earlier come back into play. Seriously, take a mental screenshot of this matrix right now because it maps the whole system out beautifully. When there is movement or action, meaning you're using Stellen or Legen, you absolutely must use the accusative case for your preposition. Action triggers accusative. But look over at the right column. When there's no movement, when you're just describing a static state or location using Stehen or Liegen, that static location triggers the dative case. Vertical movement, Stellen plus accusative. Vertical rest, Stehen plus dative. Horizontal movement, Liegen plus accusative. Horizontal rest, Liegen plus dative. It's like a giant, beautifully logical puzzle once you see it laid out like this.
Section 5. Let's practice together. Test your knowledge. Okay, let's see how this builds your confidence. We're going to apply that matrix to a few scenarios and figure out the verb and the case together. You ready?
Scenario number 1. Picture a flock of beautiful pink flamingos. They're just resting in the water. Now, think about it. They're upright on those crazy long legs, and they are in a resting location without any placement movement happening.
So, what verb are we using and what is the case?
Exactly. We use stehen because they are upright and resting, and we pair that with the dative case. In dem Wasser merges into im Wasser. Die Flamingos stehen im Wasser. Now, exactly why they choose to stand in the water all day, yeah, that's a biological mystery for another explainer.
Let's try another one. Scenario 2. I actively put my money flat down on the table. We've got an action here. We have horizontal movement onto a surface. So which verb and which case does this trigger? Makes total sense, right? Because it's a flat movement onto the table. An action, we use Legen and the accusative case, auf den Tisch. Since the table is a masculine noun, der Tisch becomes den Tisch in the accusative. Ich lege das Geld auf den Tisch. Spot on.
Okay, scenario 3. A dog is resting flat on a wall, just chilling out. The dog isn't moving to the wall, he's just already resting there horizontally. So what do you think? Verb and case.
Perfect. It's a horizontal resting state, which means we use the verb liegen combined with the dative case, auf einer Mauer. Because die Mauer is feminine, in the dative resting case, it becomes einer Mauer. Der Hund liegt auf einer Mauer. Love it!
Let's get a little hungry for scenario 4. She places flat slices of salami onto a pizza. Actually, let's do this one in the past tense, just to challenge ourselves a bit. It's a classic action scenario, placing something flat and horizontal onto a surface. What's the sentence?
Great job! Here, we use the past participle of legen, which is gelegt, because it's a horizontal action. And since it is an action with a destination, we use the accusative case, auf die Pizza. Sie hat Salami auf die Pizza gelegt. Can't go wrong with some delicious horizontal action. Final question, scenario 5. The waiter actively places a sign upright in front of the cafe. We've got an active movement, the sign is upright, and it's moving toward a specific location. Give me the answer. And there it is. You nailed it. It's vertical placement action. So we use stellt. And because there is movement to a destination, we use the two-way preposition for with the accusative case, for das Café. Der Kellner stellt das Schild vor das Café.
And just like that, you have completely conquered 4 of the most confusing verbs in the entire A2 German vocabulary. Really, how many complete sentences can you construct now that you've unlocked these rules? It literally just comes down to observing the physical world. Is it moving or is it resting? Is it upright or is it flat? Once you see that matrix, you cannot unsee it. So, are you ready to continue this journey and master all the small details that unlock true fluency? Grab your free trial lesson with Deutschlingo today by visiting www.deutschlingo.com. Until next time, I'm going to leave you with this to ponder. The next time you toss your keys down when you get home, ask yourself, are you stelling them or are you legging them? Keep practicing and we'll see you on the next explainer.